Okay, so we need to make this intro quick because I am way too excited to share this video with you. So I'm Cassie and this is Dose of DIY. I'm gonna show you how to do this. And guess what? It's rental friendly. And this is probably gonna be your favorite. It's cheap. Yeah, you're welcome. I need you to appreciate how much of a genius I am. So let's look at what are the solutions. If you want like a cool cladded wall, right? Like our cladded wall paneling or whatever you want to call it, if you wanted that. Then if you go online, let's go through what your options are. So you can get this stuff from Home Depot, right? It looks awesome, but it's also super expensive. And if you want it to go from like your entire floor to ceiling, if your ceilings are more than like 8 feet, like mine are like around 9, you'd have to pay for the ones that are like the taller height. And those are minimally like $200. And then there's the ones that are on like Pinterest or whatever. And they're like, oh my God, you can do this like super cool, like cheap cladded wall. And then you look at it and you're like, oh, so I have to take like 5 sheets of plywood, figure out how to saw each of them into like 1/2 inch strips, and using a table saw or a saw track that I do not own, and then sand it all down. If you have, again, like a 9-foot ceiling, then those will not be tall enough. So, okay, and your other option is to get them from Etsy, and they do something similar to what I'll be showing you, which they give you like little pieces, but they do not give you anything to put on like back or anything like that. They also will cost you about $100. Then my solution comes in. The cool thing about my solution is that you do not have to have a table saw or a saw track or anything like that because they come nice and cut. They're all uniform, so you don't have to worry about trying to get them to be the same size. They all come and they're all the same size. They are all project board, like stuff that is pretty nice. Like you can already do stuff with it. Like you don't have to do like a bunch of sanding like you would if you try to get like cheap plywood. They're super cheap. So each one is $1.50. So for me, I needed 20 of them and that was $30. Boy, am I telling you that all of the wood that you would need is already cheaper than a decent sheet of plywood? Yeah. And so instead of like painting the wall, I put like this like black plastic wallpaper. That way you don't have to worry about damaging the walls or anything. The wallpaper that I used was also $7. So the total was $37. $37. Which is still cheaper than 1 sheet of plywood. So that you might need that you may not have if you're not like if you're new to DIY and you don't have like a saw or something to cut it. Like super cheap saws on Amazon that I'll link in the description for you. So like it doesn't even have to be like an electric saw, it can be like a hand one because these are super thin. Okay, so let's get into how I did this. I did like a super scientific method to figure out how many boards I needed. I laid out the peel and stick wallpaper on the ground, and then I laid the little wood pieces with the little spacers in between it to figure out how much I needed. Yeah, it's really scientific, I know. I also meant to catch this on video for you guys, but my dumb missed the frame. But I was able to get this recording of me eating a carrot, which is clearly very helpful. All right, so now it's time to put up the peel and stick wallpaper. If you don't know how to do this, haven't done it before, then you should check out my video. You guys know the drill. Something that looks like this is going to be up in one of these corners, so just click it if you want to learn how to do peel and stick wallpaper. Now this next part isn't required, but if you want to be an annoying, I mean awesome perfectionist like me, then you should probably do it. Okay, so since we were combining multiple boards because they're like 3 feet long instead of like having like one big long board, I was like grouping them together based on like the different shades that they were. So I'll show you an example. Okay, so these were like some of the edges that I cut off. Okay, so yes, they are all the same like board, but you can see that like they're slightly different shades. So what I was doing was like grouping them by like the shade that they were, so that I was making sure that I was putting ones that were the same shade together so that it looked like it was like one cohesive board. And that was me trying to make sure like there wasn't like an ugly duckling like standing out. And then like I actually even like went through the lining on the like boards. I'm like, all right, do they like sort of line up? And then I would like put them together. And I even numbered them on the back. So I like labeled them like 1, 2, and 3. For this one, this side should be at the bottom and this side should be touching number 2. Yes, I am well aware that I'm very extra. That's probably part of the reason why I am undateable. And for me, only really thinking about managed resources to get my supplies from Home Depot so that I don't have to pay that $70 delivery fee. Then I like cut the edges if they weren't fitting perfectly together. So they like came like that, where like you can kind of see that it's like not perfectly straight, right? So then I would cut the edges. Like, do you guys see the difference? I was just trying to make it as straight as possible to make it look like as clean as possible. Again, yes, I know, I'm extra. All right, so now you have to cut the board to be the height that you want. Sand it. That's really all I have to say about that, so I felt like I should say it somewhat dramatically. But then you want to stain it with the color that you want it to be. I did my favorite, so if you watch like any of my videos or if you read my blog, then you already know what it is. It is the Retique Barnwood Gel Stain. Duh. And I don't even get paid to promote this. You would think I am by how much I use it. Retique, if you're watching this, you should be paying me. Also, extra, you should probably also be paying me. All right, but now it's time to glue these bad boys onto your peel and stick wallpaper. I use the same scrap wood to space them out so that they're the same distance apart. This is like part of that scrap wood, so they're these like little 1/2 inch square dowels that I had used for other projects. I actually use these to make my fluted bathroom vanity. So if you haven't seen my awesome bathroom, then look for this thingy, one of these corners. So what I would do is like when I was putting them up against the wall, I would like put one of these like little spacers in between it so that I can make sure that I was keeping them the same distance apart. Otherwise, my little like wall panels would end up being completely lopsided. And ta-da! And that's it. So if you didn't think that this video was awesome, then I probably need to reevaluate my life, because I was like beyond excited to show you guys this like rental friendly cheap hack that I came up with. You guys are like, oh my god, Cassie went out of her way to come up with like a badass project that is easy and affordable, and I appreciate her. Then like this video and subscribe. And to my subscribers, I love you guys. That's probably another reason that I'm undateable. I could tell people that I've never met that I love them, but I cannot show affection to men, so probably pretty healthy, right? All right, but thanks for watching. Love you.